What's good, everybody out there? If you are new to the channel, subscribe, like, comment, and share. Let's talk about it. This episode is brought to you by Cocoa Breeze Body Butter, available in lemongrass, tropical vibes, jasmine, and king scent. Also available in a special eczema recipe that includes neem oil and tea tree oil. Made with all natural ingredients, 100% homemade. Now, ladies, get you some. Fellas, get you some for yourself. I got my special king scent, that's my signature fragrance. Or get some for your lady, just in case she wants you to
rub it on in there. You want me to rub it?
Alright, y'all, so let's talk about it. Floyd Money Mayweather. Floyd Money Mayweather. First, let me start with, I believe Floyd Mayweather overall is one of the most, if not the most disrespected boxer amongst those placed in the high pantheon of boxing. The upper echelon in the pantheon of boxing. He's disrespected a lot. Let me give my relationship with Floyd Mayweather Jr. I used to be a huge Floyd Mayweather fan. A huge Floyd Mayweather fan. I was a Floyd Mayweather fan up until he became Money Mayweather. And the old Floyd, I was a fan of his skills. And even Money Mayweather, I'm still a fan of his skills. And actually, as far as skill-wise, he's one of the best boxers I have ever laid eyes on. And I watch boxing. He rarely loses rounds. I mean, given who you put him in the ring with Floyd Money Mayweather, and he's going to use excellent boxing IQ. If you are truly a fan of the sweet science, he's a scientific genius. He's a scientific genius. So when it came to Floyd, Pretty Boy Floyd Mayweather, I was a huge fan. And I was a fan of his skill. Now, once he changed over into Money Mayweather, that's when he started to lose me as a fan. And because for me, a lot about who you are, a lot about me, if I rock with you or rock with your brand, it's not just what you do in the ring. Now, I have tremendous respect for, one, everything Floyd's done in the ring, or everything that he does in the ring. You know what I mean? Like, there are very little holes in his game, technically. You know what I'm saying? Do I think he's as invincible as everybody says? No. Do I think that he's the greatest defensive fighter of all time? No. No, I don't. Do I think he's one of them? Yes. Do I think he's the top defensive fighter? No, I don't. But I give him his respect nonetheless. All right? But when it comes to, number one, Money Mayweather the brand. Money Mayweather the brand. For a lot of different reasons, just that transformation kind of lost me because, if it's all about the money, then that's not even anything that I've ever been raised to or that I ever would, subscribe to. So just from a fan standpoint, now this part of your brand I don't rock with. Still a fan of your game and your you know what I'm saying, and everything that you do, but as a fan, I don't really rock with you because you all about the money, you all about a dollar, and that's just never been my thing as far as whoever, rappers or anything else. It's just never really been a concept that I gravitated towards. You cannot deny what he's done business-wise. You cannot deny what he's accomplished in the sport. You cannot deny the amount of revenue that he's generated for himself. You cannot deny just what he's accomplished. as a fighter, right? But there's also other things that, you know, like for instance, him pleading guilty to, you know, laying hands on his baby mom. Now, I've looked into that, read the police reports, the whole nine. He beat that girl up.
One unique aspect of this case that I think is different than many others that I see on a regular basis is the extent to which this happened in front of children old enough to understand what's happening. These were not infants. These were children in the report listed as 11 and 9 years old. To the extent that, according to the report, an 11-year-old child had to jump over a gate in the backyard and run to the security station in order to protect his mother from what was happening.
And for me, things happen, things get physical in relationships sometimes, you know, push and pull, tug and all that. That's one thing. But what I read in that police report and what he, and the fact that he pled guilty, now we can nitpick about what he pled guilty. Like, he pled guilty. There was a deal made for him to do something lesser, but at the end of the day, whenever someone, especially of his stature, status, and, you know, bank account, you can make a lot of things, you either go away or get lessened. That's just the game. That's how the game is played. That's why they go to school for as much time as they go to school for. You know what I'm saying? To learn how to play that game. So you got money, you got capital, you can make some things happen. Now, if out of all of that influence and money and capital and stardom and riches, you still pled guilty, then you're guilty. Then you put hands on that girl. You put hands on that girl, and you know, and it was bad. And that's where, like, he lost me completely. So it doesn't matter what you do in the ring. I can be an appreciator of you, but I'm not a fan, right? But when it comes to Floyd Money Mayweather, you know, number one, going back to my statement of him being the most disrespected boxer of all time, and I think a lot of it is kind of through his own choosing and his own doing. A lot of people don't give Floyd his respect for the things that he's accomplished. I'm not one of those people. Do I believe there are asterisks? Yes, I do. When you talk about being the best ever, I believe the TBE statement from the standpoint of just generating capital. Best that ever did it as far as generating capital. But when you talk about boxing, you can't even, like, for me, it's hard for me to even compare fighters who fought in an era where there's modern medicine. There's modern medicine. There's 12-round fights, and you fighting once or twice a year, compared to a time where there was 15+ round fights, and dudes was fighting every week, like Sugar Ray Robinson, for example. People look at his record, say he lost to Jake LaMotta, and then he came back and avenged the record. What people don't understand about that is that happened in a matter of a couple weeks. Just think about how unheard of that is. He went from welterweight up to light heavyweight, if I'm not mistaken. Fought the best light heavyweight on the planet. Lost. Took a tune-up fight a couple weeks later, and then turned around a couple weeks after that, fought Jake LaMotta again and beat him. I can't compare you, like, when Floyd says stuff like, I'm the best ever, that statement is lost on me because I know that. And it's like, you've never accomplished anything close to that feat alone. That we're not even going to go into his, 93 fight win streak, 101, one of the two. I ain't got them numbers in front of me right now, but we're not going to go into his overall record. And the fact that these dudes was fighting like every other week. They was fighting almost weekly, these dudes, and winning at this rate. That's hard. I can't say that Floyd's body and mental faculties can hold up under that strain. Do I think Sugar Ray Robinson can do what Floyd does in the modern day? I mean, is that really a question? When you look at his record, his career, and how often he fought and what he accomplished and how many people he beat in a row, consistently, is that really a question? But can you really say after everything you've seen Floyd do that he can go back and subject himself to the pressures that a Sugar Ray Robinson went through and survive that, or even a Muhammad Ali? And that's a lot of what boxing is about. Not about the show you put on. It's about the adversity you overcome. And since we've never seen Floyd really overcome adversity, a lot of people don't give him the credit for the things that he's accomplished. You know what I'm saying? So he's disrespected in that vein, and he'll tell you that himself.
Advantage of what
you know what I'm gonna do, because you don't ever give me a face shake. You know that? So
Nobody said that. You got full credit for both of those wins, Floyd. That's why you became a superstar.
No, I did not.
Yes,
no,
you
I
did.
did not. No.
That's not even nothing I have to say. Listen to him. He'll tell you that. You know what I'm saying? They really don't give him his credit. He's been saying that most of his career. Y'all don't give me the credit. Y'all don't give me the credit. Y'all don't give me the credit. Well, I mean, you know, as far as when you switch over to Money Mayweather, there are a number of different. You gotta think about it like this. I'm not even gonna go into the whole branches and all that of this and that or whatever. This argument about who he's supposed to avoid it or kind of avoid it or whatever the case may be. Right? Bottom line is this: Floyd didn't fight the best welterweights in his era, in their prime. That's just a fact. We can talk. He fought Sugar Shane Mosley, yeah, but he didn't fight him in his prime. He didn't fight Margarito for obvious reasons, but he didn't fight him. He fought Cotto, but yeah, after Cotto got destroyed by Margarito. He never fought Tim Bradley. He never fought Devin Alexander. That would have been a good fight. Devin Alexander is tough. He's skilled. He's a southpaw. Him and Floyd, that would have been a good fight. I can't, Devin Alexander in his prime against Floyd. You can't sit here and say that would have went Floyd's way. I'm saying you can't. And I remember an interview with him actually saying that. And that's what he was saying, Floyd avoids black fighters. So even when he was active, that was a stigma on him, that a lot of the fans, of course, gonna believe what they want to believe, but a lot of fighters in the industry felt like Floyd he avoided tough black fighters. That's why he never fought Tim Bradley. That's why he never fought Devin Alexander, and et cetera, et cetera. Never fought Vernon Forrest, rest in peace, but, there's circumstances behind that as well. You know what I'm saying? Before Paul Williams had his accident, he never fought Paul Williams. You know what I'm saying? Still to this day, never fought Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia is kind of Johnny come lately, but still, he was around during that era. And still, I think that's a good fight. So, amongst fighters, a lot of fighters don't give Floyd the respect that he feels he deserves. So he's disrespected in that way. A lot of boxing pundits don't give him the respect that he feel like he deserves, which in his mind, he's the greatest ever. In the ring, outside the ring, whatever, right? So a lot of people don't agree with that statement, so that he's disrespected in that way, right? But then when you take it in a whole nother direction, like you think about the era of great fighters and the reputation that surrounded them, the aura that surrounded them, right? And for a fighter, it was always a tough persona, the fact that you don't want to mess with this guy. When during the era of Roy, people didn't mess with Roy. And even the Fat Joe beef, Fat Joe said mentioned his name in a song. He mentioned his name in a song, son. Roy went to his spot, Terror Squad members all over the place to see him. Like, had Fat Joe pleading for his life. Also pleading for Roy's life too, because you do something to me, you not making it out this building.
He
came to beat me up.
He came to beat you up.
In real life.
He's not that big though.
No, he could knock you out. He's the champion of the world.
He was a champion. Well, he's the middleweight champion of the world.
He could knock you out. I'm not a boxer.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So Roy Jones came to knock out Fat Joe.
Okay.
Had his getaway plan and everything. The motherfucker was gone in half a minute.
Hit you and then bounce. Okay.
Man, I had to tell him, please don't knock me out, man, Roy.
That's the story?
Yeah, that's the story. The story is I was telling him, it's just hip hop, and he persisted and persisted. I said, Roy, look, you're gonna knock me out. No question. You're gonna knock me out. When you see them 150 guys over there, they're not gonna be cool with that, and nobody's gonna fight you.
You know what I mean? But he was trembling himself. Like, man, please don't knock my jaw off. Please. Whatever I said, I'm sorry. I don't want no problems. And this is Fat Joe. Fat Joe is, Roy is a middleweight. Fat Joe is a heavyweight. So this is Fat Joe, somebody who's damn near probably at that time was like twice the size as Roy almost. Fat Joe close to 300 pounds probably at that time. Roy is 150, 60 pounds. He half the size of this nigga. He like, yo, what you talking about? And that was just a clever line. Like, no one even took that as a diss. Even Roy Jones was forced to lean back. Well, he did get knocked out in that time, so I see how he could have translated that. But the bottom line is, that was the closest thing you had to it. Mike Tyson. He had the closest entertainer or rapper he had beef with was LL after he came back out of jail. After Cannabis put Mike on his song. And then LL shot some bars at him, whatever, right? But even that was like, it was vicious bars or whatever, but I don't think it was nothing like where he would just run around disrespecting him and telling him, I'm going to pull up on you, Mike, and I'm going to punch you in your face or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, that's unheard of. Like, nah. LL, and that's LL. This was LL. You got to remember, this was Any Given Sunday's LL. You know what I'm saying? This was big. Like that role, I can't remember the name of the character in Any Given Sunday. Man, that's one of the best roles, football player roles in a movie, in a football movie. So what that means? That means that he convinced you on screen that he really is a professional football player. You first have to have size to do that, is my point. So this is buff LL. So even like buff LL, like he shot some bars at Mike, probably got a little confidence about himself. Like, yo, I'm buff too. I'm a heavyweight size too. But it wasn't no like Rakim or not no diss to Rakim, but he's a small dude. He not like KRS-One. KRS-One's a big dude. Like Rakim's a small dude. You know what I'm saying? So you're not somebody like half Mike's size talking about, man, I'm gonna punch you in your face, I'm gonna slap you when I see you. You know what I mean? So celebrities and stuff didn't disrespect Mike. He might have got disrespected by the media. He might have got disrespected, after he took his losses and stuff like that by people, comedians, stuff like that. But there wasn't no entertainers in a hurry to jump out there and disrespect Mike. You know what I'm saying? Muhammad Ali, when he was a man, he was the baddest man on the planet. So, they had a comic book of him fighting Superman. Enough said. And this was pre-rap industry, so, that wouldn't even happen. I think a lot of this stuff came along during the rap industry. The whole, confrontationalness in black music, you know what I'm saying, was pretty much birthed in the hip-hop era, rap music, stuff like that. So you can't even really go back further than that and talk about other people. But, all the way back to like Jack Johnson, first black heavyweight champion of the world. You're not disrespecting the baddest man on the planet. Floyd Money Mayweather has been disrespected by T.I. numerous times. T.I. ran up on him. Like, regardless of what happened in that actual confrontation, the bottom line is T.I. ran up on Floyd Mayweather like, yo, what's happening? And I can't think of any, Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvin Hagler, Roy Jones Jr., none of the heavyweights. I can't think of anybody who somebody would run up on like, yo, I'm sure all these dudes were sleeping with niggas' girls. And nobody wasn't trying to run up on them in no restaurant trying to throw hands with them. By the way, T.I. is tiny. And I don't mean his wife. T.I. is a tiny person. I've stood next to T.I. I opened for T.I. Briefly met him. Briefly. But dope lyricist, one of my best, one of my favorite rappers, MCs, regardless, of what demographic, but definitely from the South. But he is tiny. He's tiny, yo. He is a small dude, son. Like, he's a small dude. He is a small individual. When he be talking about, like, how big his heart is and stuff like that, like, the reason why that appeals to a lot of people because they know him and they know that he's telling the truth. His heart is 3 times the size of his body because that nigga is tiny. I was surprised at how tiny he was, and I'm like, damn, this nigga is tiny. Really, really small. My point is this. Nigga ran up on Floyd Mayweather one hands. Regardless of whether it happened, regardless of what happened when it happened, regardless who did what, bottom line is, ain't nobody running up on Mike, ain't nobody running up on Lennox Lewis, ain't nobody running up on Roy Jones. That's small, talking about they want hands. Then, I could really make this long by just, pointing out a whole bunch of other stuff. But then we could fast forward to this NBA young boy. Now, I mean, that to me is like, that's crazy.
My wife, you talking about my wife? Inside my house that I paid for? Now her bitch ass daddy, nigga. Huh? And now her bitch ass daddy, I ain't never accepted not one thing from her in my life.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know, young niggas these days don't have respect and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, all that's true. Little niggas don't really have no respect for elders these days. It's just what it is. You gotta understand that when you're dealing with them. You know what I'm saying? And try your best to teach them better because it'll help them out in life in the long run. But a lot of these little niggas don't have no respect for older niggas. You know what I'm saying? Or they elders, I'll put it like that. A lot of these little dudes don't have respect for their elders. You dig me? So, but still, you know what I mean? Like this whole drama with his daughter and all that kind of stuff, and even just how that's carrying over and how they carrying her. Like I would hate to have my daughter, you know what I'm saying, be seen in that light. I know things happen, but just the fact that this man coming out publicly saying these things, I can't think of any other time with any other fighter who's supposed to be the man, the guy, that dude, to be having to be disrespected in these ways. You know what I'm saying? I know that's kind of foolish for anyone to disrespect Floyd Mayweather because regardless of how big he is or regardless of his skill level, he still can whoop your ass. But even more than that, like he got money. So, I mean, really, that's bigger than muscles. You have all the muscles in the world. You got Floyd money. You can get, he got 3-4 niggas touch you on all types of different ways. He ain't got to do nothing. So, I mean, in a lot of ways, that's actually running up on Floyd is worse than running up on Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson might knock you out. Yeah, that's it. You sue him and, whatever. But Floyd, Floyd got vast resources. You know what I mean? But going back to I feel like it's partially on him, man. I mean, just from the game standpoint, as far as the boxing game, the reason why he's disrespecting as far as boxing is concerned with boxing fans, pundits, stuff like that, because he chose to take a certain route. He chose to take the route of I'm going to make the most money but suffer the least amount of punishment, which is, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. That self-preservation should always be your primary, right? But we're talking about boxing, which is pretty much an evolutionized gladiatorial combat joint, fight to the death. So you gotta have some blood and guts to appeal to the crowd. From a fighter or trainer standpoint, that's not a good idea, but I'm just saying how things are, right? So he chose to go the route of I'm not gonna face the tough challenges. I'm gonna manipulate my way to take on the easier challenges and get the bread. Like, people can say what they want in hindsight, but he kind of avoided Amir Khan. But Amir Khan was supposed to be next. And Floyd manipulated the fact that most casual boxing fans don't know what they're looking at. And a lot of people bought into the hype that Adrian Broner was the next Floyd Mayweather. So once Marcos Maidana trashed Adrian Broner, the interest of Maidana versus Floyd piqued everyone. It piqued everyone's imagination. But really, Amir Khan was in line to fight Floyd. So Floyd did something clever. He put out I think it was Instagram or something like that. It was a social media poll and asked everybody, who would you rather see me fight, Maidana or Amir Khan? Now, it was really close, but Amir Khan kind of edged him out because a lot of people felt like with Amir Khan's size, with Amir Khan's his size, his speed, you know what I mean, his reach, his movement, he would give Floyd a lot of problems that he's never seen. And this is before he developed the stigma that he has now, of him just being glass chin and he's trash and he's used up, whatever. But when he still, was top of his game, Floyd was supposed to fight Amir Khan. He didn't fight Amir Khan. He fought Maidana. He manipulated that whole system in order to fight, because people chose Amir Khan and then he chose Maidana. which made sense because, you know, from a business side, but stylistically, that's a win-win for Floyd. Even though Maidana gave Floyd a whole bunch of problems that I felt like he wasn't expecting. And then also, you know, some other stuff that I ain't gonna get into. But Amir Khan at that time would have made for a more dangerous matchup than Marcos Maidana. Especially since previous to that fight, Amir Khan had already knocked out, he already stopped Marcos Maidana. You feel me? So why wouldn't you fight the dude that beat this dude? You fighting the dude that lost to the dude. And you supposed to be fighting the dude. So choices like that, I feel like put him in the you know, put him in a situation where people that deal with the game, they don't respect him or give him his full respect. And then, you know, I feel like me personally and people like me, the way he carries himself, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, he's not, I mean, I just put it like this without going to a whole explanation. I can make a whole nother video about that. The stuff that his daughter's going through is a direct reflection of how he carries himself, not just as a fighter, but as a symbol, what he symbolizes. Materialism over substance. You know what I'm saying? And even, you know, even Jay-Z, who's someone who epitomizes materialism, you know, Conor McGregor had a point when he was going at Floyd in their fight, where he was talking about, you know, how he listened to Jay-Z, and Jay-Z, his image is more mature. You still running around here wearing tracksuits and throwing money in the air and putting money into your ear, and I have to agree with that. You know what I mean? And I think that the problems that he's going through, and even if, okay, he's upstanding, he carries himself a certain way, but his daughter's still wilding out, you wouldn't hear about it. The media would do its best to kind of hide it, as they've done for a lot of other celebrities who have a certain on-screen reputation. They have daughters who are porn stars and all kind of stuff. You don't really hear about it because, you know, there's, you know, the media and stuff and stuff like that, they're going to try their best to suppress it. You know what I mean? Whereas with Floyd, they're going to let it out because this is right along the lines of the same stuff that, you know, he's kind of promoted. You know, drama and beef and stuff like that with dudes, and you know what I mean? So just his image and how he, you know, portrayed himself, and how he's, you know, pretty much, like I said, put wealth over substance, you know what I mean? And flash and materialism and all that kind of stuff, and just all the things that, you know, and then you gotta, you know, he's had issues with multiple women. Not just the one he got convicted of, but he got a history of issues with multiple women. This kind of stuff that, you know, they're growing up seeing. And these are the kind of things that Floyd epitomizes, this type of lifestyle, in the way he walks around and you know, flashing the wealth and the big chains and the Gucci and this, that, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Now, do what you do, but every man has to bear the consequences for the actions. And, you know, even though I'm making this video and I have my opinion on the situation, you know, maybe he's okay with all the consequences for his actions, and that's cool. But, you know, as an observer, this is just what I see. So I say all that to say that, you know, Floyd, to me, I think he's the most disrespected, you know, all-time great, or potential all-time great, according to my memory. Now, you may have something different. Mike Tyson can come to mind, depending on the era of Mike Tyson you're talking about and what was going on, or whatever the case may be. But I counter that by saying Mike Tyson was never disrespected out of the ring as much as Floyd been disrespected out of the ring from people who are not boxers. Like, he's been disrespected by 50 Cent and rappers, and you know what I'm saying, people who are not boxers. Mike Tyson didn't get disrespected by you know, other athletes or entertainers and stuff, at least not in public. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I got. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, like, comment, and share. Let's talk about it. On that note, peace.